Hello and welcome. It is that of the 8th day of August 2020. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades of the like within each's own risk and their own reward. Going to take a look at Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and I think things are looking pretty cool as well. I'm going to do just different stuff at the end, which is fantasy hockey. I've talked about different things about that because I almost hit a gold mine. I think I did hit a gold mine. And when the hockey season started, and also instincts, if you talk about it, they're kind of weird. I don't want to talk too much about it. I will a little bit. For years have been trying to ignore them. For years I was trying to utilize them and maximize them for poker profits actually. So it's really weird, and they came back again for me. I want to explain that, and that relates to fantasy hockey and fantasy sports. So anyway, I'm gonna start off with cryptocurrencies. I'm going to start off with the Bitcoin and then the dominance because that really explains a lot. Then I'm just going to show whatever altcoins that I got on my list. I think Tezos, Theta, whatever, yada yada. So within the daily chart on Bitcoin, I mean, it says a lot. It really, really does. Let's go over these Fibonacci levels. I'm just going to scroll back like this. And also, I am watching the hockey game live. It is 12:26 a.m. I'm up until the end of the game. 7:38 to play in the second period, tied at 3 as I'm watching it. And I might just, when I'm doing this video, react to a situation. I'll try not to, but if it happens, it happens. I kind of did before, and the score was low scoring. Now it's 3-3. It was like 2-1 before. But we'll get into hockey, get into fantasy and instincts after I'm done crypto. So the move, obviously, spectacular uptrend, obviously. And we'll get more of this when I get into the weekly chart. At the end of this, I'm going to go over the daily, and the shorter term, and we'll go over the longer term after that. But obviously a fantastic move. And this is a correctionary play, and it was a decent amount of time. It was that of from the, we'll say the start of 2018. And the bottom occurred at a year. One full year of going down. And then some sideways, but pretty much a primary downtrend within a primary up. And its move was a correctionary move within the primary uptrend, of course. Okay. So therefore, as far as since then, that bottom is now quite a while ago. I mean, that bottom is, I don't know, we're over a year and a half away since that bottom now. So it's been a decent amount of time, and what a rally of a correctionary move. And I'm going to talk more about correctionary moves on the monthly term chart when we get to that. But a successful one, 23.6. What did we do at 23.6? No resistance, we support it. Tangled around above it for a while, and then we went to the next 38.2, no resistance. And then it came up to this 61.8 after just congesting and resisting at the 50% level. I don't call it 50% Fibonacci retracement, but I'll call it a 50% retracement. I just don't know how 50% has anything to do with Fibonacci numbers. Although other than the fact that it happens to work out that the middle of 38.2 and 61.8% happens to be 50%. That's the only thing that I can think of how it has any connection at all. Anyway, that's all yada yada stuff. That's off topic. So then within the move here, it does resist the 76.4 and twice at that, and almost a third time. And oh wow, did it ever support where it didn't resist? But after it supported several times in here, it never did any real attempt to break out and retest this high. I mean, there hasn't been any close attempt for the most part since here and now. But then after breaking down, we resist Fib. The rare Pierce extra higher. Usually pierces extra low at more, but Pierce less is what happened on the rare situation. Like here's Pierce extra, here's Pierce extra, here's Pierce extra down here, and a mighty Pierce extra on this one. Because there's no support here. Okay, fast move, concise move to next level. Check mark. And then piercing extra aggressively. And then aggressively, it was the nice move here. Resisting the key Fibonacci and then getting above it. Concise move to next point. Oh my goodness. Did it ever resist this? But, I mean, you talk about weak resistance in a heartbeat. This is it right here. I mean, how much could you buy back? Yeah, we resisted around 10K. How about a 10% price correction for you? Because that's all there was. And it was for a long period of time. And one of the things I've been mentioning that to me, I got to believe, it looks to me as if cryptocurrency and precious metals back before this was going on, well, I mean, you don't have much time to get them at these levels. And even now, for that matter, it's still only like 15, 20% higher from where we congested at. it looks to me as if it's like a gimme that we're going to be hitting that 12,856, probably piercing extra, because more times than not, although Bitcoin, especially more so on the way down, I guess, pierces less. But how it's handled this move, all we've been doing is showing strength at the 18 average of highs ever since this correctionary move. Oh, okay, I gotcha. I'll just leave it at that. You do what you want to do. I mean, short term, we got a downtrend. We have a downtrend. We have the 18 average of highs. After we got cleared down, after clear cut broke the support on 10 o'clock, and as we cut that, at the same time, it established a level of support at 11,515-ish. And then after its move, it went and it's established another level below that at 11,353-ish. And we've had a correctionary move, but it has, it can still hold. We could have correction as long as it holds like 11.4 short term. It's established short term resistance 11.650. Get above that, you see it at like 11.720-ish or whatever. Oh, okay, now we can start talking about the short term move to here. And it's in a strong situation when you see just how well of a primary uptrend that this has been trading in. Let's move on to the monthly chart or weekly chart. And doing so, I'm going to change the exchange to Bitstamp, but that's because it's more data. But what a primary trend it has been since the start of this point, which is $2 and change. So when we think about these altcoins and what they can do, the volatility that we've had before. I don't know if we can reach 2017, and it's been quite dry, not as easy, not as aggressive, not as like volatile, I guess. Still volatile, but would it be? And I've been thinking the whole time as we go through each leg, volatility will go lower, and that's what people say about stuff like, well, Bitcoin can't work because it's not stable. Yeah, of course not now, but each time goes by, and the market approves the fact that it's not a Ponzi type or anything of that nature. Then with things like volatility going lower, which would happen, that it becomes more stable. Although still, as it's becoming more stable, would not be based on how you would perceive it as such. But even when we look at the U.S. dollar, all these things, look at the inflation levels those produce, and even there's still gold and silver moves of decent proportions too. How stable are they when they're the quote unquote maybe the most stable? Bonds, okay, we'll see about that. So with that, that'll go on to the thing. Primary uptrend, like a shorter term correctionary move. And within it, you have retracement from this high to this low, and it destroyed this level of retracement. And that's the case, you think you're going to have a concise move to some level. Maybe you can predict it whether you do or do not. It's going to most likely be a noticeable break higher, and this is noticeable. And when it's a noticeable break, if it's bullish, that means you're going to do things like retrace a small amount. Maybe do things like hold, like where you came from. In the first place is like, well, right here. And pass that. And that's hard to pass that. Because if you even can hold here, like from point low to point high, and you end up, and say we're to go back to like hypothetically, like the 38.40, even like 25. That would still be a Fibonacci 61.8% hold. Although it didn't do that. Instead, it held like a 15% or, sorry if there was a noise there, 20% retracement. That's just a magnificent one. So now we're talking about retracement from this low to this high, and this of course is previous high and an approximate 61.8%. I can just blindly just figure out it's somewhere in this area in here. And what was it doing in here? I gotta calculate it. And here, this is also something too. If I'm looking at charts and I'm trying to decide what key low do I use, it's really two choices. The high is the obvious key high. Do you choose this low, or do you choose a low of like say this nature? Considering there really was no trading time here, and you had you had a lot of work at this like 210 level, but you did hit a low of 201. So I would just do like an even 200. And the key high was like 1163. Let's bring up my fib calculator. And what I would do is I would take 1100 and divide it by 200, which would get you 2.5. And to the root of these key numbers here, 0.382, 0.618, 23.6, 76.4, multiply the low of 200, and that gets me these answers. Up target, which I wouldn't use in this example, is to the root of 1.618, and the down target is to the root of negative 0.618. So you'd be looking at back then, 300 is the first level. I mean, that's like yada yada. You got a lot more to do than get above 300. But what was the story at 300? Oh, it resisted it here, and it was just that it was already pre-established from. And then it got above it here on this session here. Okay, so next key level 384, 384. And what did we do with 384? Well, it kind of didn't resist it. I mean, it supported it more than anything. That's just a fantastic, and that's a bullish sign right there in itself. So then we got 384. By the way, I was looking at, you couldn't see it there, but I showed it before. 574 next key level. And that's the big one there, because in Fibonacci that's 61.8%. If a move from key low or high or high to low on the next reverse move after that, if it's able to retrace more and just show that it's able to get past that 61.8, that shows to me it's a failed move. And when it's a counter trend move like this is, then you got good reason to believe it. So 503/4 was is this level here. And this was weird because you would have thought here piercing toward, I mean, it didn't get to it. You would have thought it was going to go there. Here too, you would have been like, December 2015, man, this thing looks like it's going to break out. And it took its sweet ass time to do it. So be it. Because it didn't do it until May. Okay. And then and that's another thing I want to talk about too. Whenever a situation like this happens, and I don't care what kind of resistance we're talking about, whenever you have a move that gets close to it like this, and then you establish like this, and then, you know what? I mean, I don't like the odds that this is going to be the high. Even a small pierce above, I don't like the odds. And the fact that it had a big move like this, not a surprise. And then you see later how it's supporting this for quite some time. And these moves in here, what it was doing in here, this intrigued me big time back then. And that's why I started covering it more, and then, of course, soon after that, getting into it. So now you're showing me that this is a failed move, most likely. And now we're at a point where we're probably going to have weak resistance at 1,200. Did we? Yes, we did. Okay, Minnesota just scored. Who scored? It was a... Okay. I think I want Minnesota. Anyway. So as it goes, that's weak resistance. And then when you break a key level like this, look at how you just get the fantastic moves. So as we see the weekly chart now, it's in the obvious retracement from this low to this high. And I've already shown the Fibonacci point, so it's looking like it's kicking ass within the trend. And within such, after making this high in here, how it's been showing phenomenal, just holding in there, strength amongst the 18 average of highs, showing how this failed move is probably going to be giving us, I mean, this was a vicious failed move lower. So if it's a vicious fast move, I expect a vicious fast move to the upside. If it's a tame failed move, I would expect a tame fast move. With that being said, it could have been more vicious, so the sub move could be more extreme, and it won't be. Whatever. And I'm not saying it won't be, I'm just saying that, just whatever. But the setup to me looks just magnificent. Monthly chart, I mean, it's like, it looks like it wants to peak out. And then this is just a powerful setup if it does on the breakout. We have this high, we have this low, we have this high, we have this uptrend, we have this resistance. We're now showing strength at the 18 average of highs as it is. I mean, this is just magnificent. The excitation attempt occurring last July, which is last month. We're at day number 8 right now, doing very good and holding in there. If it's a hold in there, that's magnificent. It could have a continuation to the upside if it does. I mean, it's not like it's much of a move here to go into 13, really. It's just more of a decent move, but not much. I mean, it's a real move of significance. Of note. I mean, it starts to become noticeable if we start to get to 16 to 20,000 for a good size move. But for now, we're 8 days in, holding in there. Next chart is Bitcoin dominance. And I'm going to ignore this little day here because of whatever. I mean, if it happened either way, it doesn't matter because I've been talking about retracements, and retracements is huge within this setup. As it goes, Bitcoin dominance, and when Bitcoin dominance goes up, that means Bitcoin is doing better than altcoins, basically, as far as how it's performing against each other. And then on the way down, that means altcoins are performing better, percentage-wise. So, with that being said, this high was a long time ago, September of last year. That's pretty much a year ago. So it's been a downtrend of several lower highs. And we have first established low, which was a higher low at 67 3/5. And then where we are now, it established that low back in February of this year. And now, again, I'm going to forget this little move here. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. But either way, it didn't hold it if it did happen. But it has for sure been congesting. This little area wasn't there for long, which is the area of around 63, like the 62-ish handle. It's now congesting that number for quite some time. Again, all of these lower highs. But when I look at this, I see the following. We have a situation where, this was just oh my goodness, this was a yawner, if you will. Okay, there's a move. There's a real move. Now it looks like maybe this could be the altcoin season, because if this goes down, this means all the other altcoins, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Tezos, Chainlink, and there's just a whole whack of them that are potential for monstrous gains. But a lot of this weakness was being shown amongst the 18 average, not having any rally attempts from this point. And then you have this day here, which is a statement day. It's a break of key support. It's a break of that trend of just grinding the 18 lows and just hanging in that price area without establishing rallies much for them. And thus it's now establishing a key low. But, however, when you make a move like this, because of this, but you expect, if you're only going to go down to here, which is a good move as it is at 61 3/4, that you're going to resist this key area of support around 63 and change. It didn't do that. No, it didn't do that. So you have that fast move. It goes down, then, the big instant move up like this. This is indicating that this down move is a failure. Bitcoin dominance is going up, and this thing should go up to like 66 or so. It's not happening. Because now it's all about retracement from this low to this high, because it made the statement that it's doing its fast move in here, and it held a little bit in here. But here's your breakdown. Okay, that's fine, because as long as it holds like a higher low area, and 61.8% is a noticeable higher low, as is like 70, Pierce Extra, of course, 74, or 70, anything that's not like near 90-ish or so. Well, that's fine, but it didn't hold it. And then it comes back to this key level, and it's now been resisting what was 2 days in here. That's kind of weak. If it's going to be in rallies, then we're talking about retracement from this low to this high, and it's really got to get above here if you have any type of statement. And it doesn't look like any of this is going on. To me, it looks like as if altcoins are in season. And I didn't plan on talking about Bitcoin for so long. And I got other things I want to talk about. I got a lot of time. It's 4:03 Minnesota, the second emission as I'm watching it. So I'm up for another hour as it is anyway. Although I'm probably going to make a snack after this. But that doesn't take much time. All right, so let's go to take a look at some altcoins. So for me, I just look at this. If I see big moves, I know there might be something for me to trade, because I just flip coins for other coins. I had a request for Tezos, and it's been choppily nice, I suppose, but choppily, come on, why couldn't you went down a bit more? Especially because, key thing, I was looking at this key fib at 22, and it really never, ever did go there. But there's another spot, and maybe this is an indication in itself that this, and I'm just thinking this right now as I'm going on, that this is just going to be a magnificent move soon. We're going through a long correctionary move. The breakout key low was January at the start of this year, and it didn't last that long. It was about 5 weeks or something. And since that end of that 5-week period, which was pretty much during the, it was pre Rudy Gobert incident 1 month. It was February, late February. So now it's been about a half a year. And there's been several noticeable hits down at this 2640 down to 2400 Satoshi level. 1, 2, 3, 4. Resistance 1, 2 at this level. Then we had 3 and 4. And then we have lower resistance. Not really, but we have whatever one here at a lone resistance level at 31. But it's just been an up and down choppy move. So whenever you have this, obviously key support or resistance has got to be broken at some point. So if it's going to be broken in here, this is another spot where, if we break this, are we going to find support here with a small pierce below? No. I mean, at best, it maybe does 50% in here between this, and maybe it can go to 1866, and it could even go down that 1550, but I don't even think it's going to do any type of real break below that. Maybe it will. If it does, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it's a failed move, because that's when you go down fast and come back, so like what I just showed within Bitcoin dominance as a possible fail move. I mean, that's always those are so common, it seems, within moves. Whenever, not too common, but I've seen it several times, maybe another way of putting it, where before you have a key move going up or down, you have like an interesting failed move in the opposite direction beforehand. That's like a noticeable one. But I mean, at some point, these things are going to have to break. As I look at this short term, you were in a downtrend. Okay, so now we got retracement from this high to this low. As long term, we got this big 28 level. We resist it. We resist it again. Oh, now we got retracement from this high to this low. And that's what you do if you're just short term trading. And I don't really want to go over too much on that as it is. So let's go Bitcoin Cash maybe. And then now we transition also into fantasy hockey, as well as some weird instincts that I've had. I don't know. It's if you ever heard Randy Orton's music who's a professional wrestler, I hear voices in my head and stuff like that. Well, here's an interesting story. There's this whole psychic thing. I know one or two, but the one that I really knew that was damn good is someone I knew the previous decade. But throwing her aside, I've seen people who are pretty good at it, and I've had events myself. It's like, man, that was scary. One really major one in 2007. But again, since like 2013 to like 2019, it's been like, screw that. Whatever comes in, I'm just going to ignore it, because it's like, I'm a math guy. I'm just going to go with the numbers. I'm going with mathematics, statistics, run my calculator, run my spreadsheets, do the long-term average variance. Large sample size. These are the type of math that goes through my mind as a fantasy hockey player. But within fantasy hockey, there's playoffs coming in, hockey playoffs. And there's been a long layoff, and I was just dominating hockey. But just before baseball season started, which was about a week and a half beforehand, I'm confident I can beat baseball. I'm still confident. I don't know yet, though. But my baseball story is, let's just use a story that's very similar to hockey and baseball and just put out a quick, cheap 25-cent lineup in for Game 6 of a of a National League Championship Series. And the 25-cent bet wins me back $9. Oh, damn right, it was working well. Wow, okay. And it was a type of score I wanted, and it got me a huge cash. Great. Why didn't I played the next game again? I took the losing team and I lost, but I don't know why I didn't play the World Series. I guess I was just wondering if hockey would win at that time, since it was like October and I was just pummeling upon hockey. Like, oh my goodness, I might be really good at it. Of course I am. And then what happened was there was no baseball because the season was over. Then preseason starts. And I'm thinking, okay, I think I got a way I can win this. And oh my goodness, I was only like 4 or 5 days. And even at first, I was only betting like 25 cents or $1, and I was winning like $30 on $1. And I did that like twice. I'm like, how does this happen? And then I put like $60 or whatever, $70 down. I win like 40 profit or 80 profit. There was one game, individual game, they call them showdowns. I bet like 50, $60 on it. Maybe I win like 80 profit. It was like, okay, baseball's good to go. Then Korean baseball starts up. And for the first 15 days, I think I won 13 of 15 days. And I mean, I'm not supposed to win at that rate, and it was just getting sick, the profits. But then it was pretty unlucky for a while, giving back some of the profits pretty much till almost the very end. But this was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and even 4 o'clock I was getting up for. Didn't like that. And then as it was getting in there, I actually did very well near the end, but I got really sick getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning with the sleep center. I'm like, screw this. I'm just going to, even though I just won, I'm going to give up on Korean baseball. Major League Baseball is coming soon. And then as I'm building my lineups, and I'm betting really putting some larger stakes in, I'm getting the instincts to my head. Oh, I hear voices in my head, and I wish I didn't. And I pretty much try to ignore them. But the voices was telling me that I'm going to be losing to start in baseball. But it's going to get better. Okay, whatever. I lose 30% of my bankroll the first 4, 5, 6 days of baseball. But it became really difficult because what was going on was just some weird pitching rotations was going on. And then lineup moves got me a couple of times because there's been a lot of late moves, which is your advantage when you see them. In fact, it got to me that today as well. But I was losing. But then the instinct is also telling me that when hockey starts, it's going to be good and it's going to be really good. Okay. So, well, for me, it was, I got all my losses back in like 2 days and then even some more. Now, the last 2 or 3 days in hockey has pretty much been, my bankrolls went up 6% or something in 2 days. Not impressive at all. But today's been a very good day. Now, instinctively, it was said yesterday I'm going to win really, really big. And as of now, I've only won very good. I'm just going to pause the screen and see how I'm doing. And it says I'm doing pretty good at this stage. I'm in line for a profit today of maybe 150 to 200%. But it could be more. It's end of the second period. I mean, this final period will decide. If I lose, if I don't win, maybe I'll win less. Maybe, I've already guaranteed a winning day. But I might win, or have I? I'm pretty much kind of haven't. I kind of have. But if it has a big win, it'll come through. However, it's one of those weird things that I have, this instinctual thing, that what am I supposed to do? When I get these weird things, I'm a math guy. It's just, oh my goodness. And at one time, I was actually trying, and this is a really weird story. I'm going to go through it now. I was probably in my early 20s, and I'm with my friend's former wife at the time. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe. And we're probably pretty baked that night or whatever, so be it. And her mom passed away very, very, very young. And we were just doing just fooling around, nothing too serious with the whole thing. And she was like, well, maybe can you try to get a whole touch of my mom and everything? And I had an image come in my head, and it was an image of a bedroom with a bed. Well, of course there's a bed in it, but there was a deck outside, and I see some sort of, probably looks like a male, this wrestling, falling around with her and then throwing her over the balcony. And it looked like it was 3rd floor. And then I asked, well, how did your mother die? And she said she committed suicide. And I'm, well, that's not what I'm getting. Well, how did she commit suicide? She jumped off a balcony. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that was just sick. And I pretty much told her, I don't think she jumped off a balcony. And anyway, that's just weird. I mean, I'm not like I have many stories like that. And the biggest one is 2007 on, I'm not going to go over that. In fact, I went over a lot of it in some of my videos in the past. I mean, that was my whole time frame from 2007. So basically, pretty much the start of the calendar year of 2007. And this is when this is like me now. I'm just doing different things. I'm pretty much a professional poker player. But I'm really just getting out of it, though. And it's not because I'm not winning. I mean, at that time, I was going through a sideways consolidation of giving back a small portion of my most recent gains. I mean, that's something I do my whole life, it seems, as a advantage bettor, advantage investor, gambler, better, whatever you want to call it. And at that time frame, it was like, okay, so The Secret was coming out, and that's when I was trying to build my instincts as a poker player, actually, even at the early parts okay, I want to learn how to read people to the point where the instincts will come to me and tell me that they're bluffing me, or that it's this and it's that, and I'm going to make the best hero calls and the best hero laydowns in the world, and that's what I want to do, and I'm just going to be the best poker player in the world. I mean, the whole secret, the whole law of attraction thing is going to do it for me. And it really has really done a lot to play around with my instincts. And I really noticed that as it moved into 2008, 2009. Now, 2008 was a big year because that's when I was getting into learning how to trade the market. That's when the stock market and the economic collapse thing was, at least for market collapse, was going on. And I was also investing in the market a little bit too. And it's just different things where it was a combination of that and the spirituality. But that spirituality took a big thing for me in the 2009 into 2010. It went away, and it went away big time especially the last half and 60% of this last decade, from like 2013, 14 on. And it even is now today. But this whole, like, getting this whole, like, stuff, I'm like, okay, if there's any way I can utilize it, I got to try to figure it out. I don't know. I wouldn't know how. I don't know how long we were in this video. Wow, it's long. So then, yeah, that was just weird, that whole thing about, like, just seeing a thing in my head, just seeing, like, a guy just throwing this girl over, like, 3-story building, and then finding out it was some sort of suicide like that. That's what she said, and then that's how it was. It was like, that was like a freaky moment at the time. And I've even met somebody, one of my mom's friends was just, I mean, she can talk to dead people, it almost seems. It's sick. I mean, especially when I've actually seen her do it twice before. So I know that type of stuff exists. And that's what's interesting thing about Tezos is, yeah, where did I figure about Tezos from? Oh, Samantha Jane. And that's just an interesting story, too, because I don't know, a lot of people here may or may not be familiar with JSNIP4. And I'm sure there's other crypto people who are in the same sort of deal, because I don't really follow too many people. But that's really psychic, like, I mean, there's a lot of psychic stuff going on within it. So I mean, a while back, I was like, you know what? I feel like making a video. I mean, it's not to mock psychicness, but just to show you. I mean, come on. I mean, there's ways of working, but be careful with this damn thing and how you do it. So I want to try to find it. So I'm trying to find videos on the internet, and I'm thinking, well, what do I search for? And I'm thinking, you know what? The first thing I thought is, well, you know what? This is just really cryptic, but this, or at least sick, or I don't know what word to use, but it's perfect for what I would want to do in a video. So let's just look at, like, the Ouija board. And I only seen 2 videos. One was a guy making a joke video, sort of like something I'd be doing. I'm like, okay, that's funny, that's good job, okay. Although, next one, this is really weird. It's almost like he's trying to do it, but I'm not understanding what he's doing, and it's really hard to understand. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do anything with that one. And the views were low, too, so there's no reasons for me to go over that. And then I found a Samantha Jane, who's a psychic, as the next video. And I was looking on her channel. There was about, 20 plus videos. And I'm like, which one do I want to watch first? I mean, they're all, like, long videos. And the video she talked about, the first thing she said in her first, like, 60 seconds, just like every video I do, she doesn't do this every video, but she did in this, your bets, your trade, your own risk reward. She comes out and she says, if you're going to want to listen to me to, like, just invest on cryptos, you're an idiot. You're an idiot, basically. And I'm thinking, oh, I love you already for a lot of stuff she's going through. So now I use the whole time to use my poker reading abilities to try to get the genuinity of the type of stuff that she's saying, how good she is at this. And I'm getting a lot of good, strong signals from her. So that's why I'm like, you know what? I think Tezos is something I should seriously get into. Now, the theta within the white dove, I'm like, I can see good and bad things. I mean, this is almost like a quote-unquote high prolific psychic, as if there's such a thing. Apparently, for the theta, this was Miss White Dove, who was like an American Idol kind of a show. So, like, for me, I always know President Trump as the Donald, because there was only like 2 or 3 reality shows that I like. But The Apprentice was one of them, being the fact that I'm a huge business fan. So, but yeah, another one, there was a show like that. Survivor, I mean, I watched the first 3-4 episodes, but I had a work schedule back then where I couldn't watch it. I think it worked out that Survivor was on Wednesdays, and that was the only day shift or afternoon shift that I worked. And anyway, that's just nothing. I didn't like the show anyway. But so I'm like, okay, I'm like, might as well give it a shot. I mean, and then when I listened to her, I mean, I mean, I didn't get the strong, positive, genuineness on White Dove. Although I didn't get negative, I got more positive than negative. But I got extreme, genuine positivity within Samantha Jane, and good within White Dove when I went through trying to read. So that's basically what I used to do back in the poker days. Was I would spend a lot of time trying to read people and trying to ensure anyone trying to read me were going to have a damn hard job at doing that. And I was damn good at it, because one of the things I do in poker, I'm going to go through two different things that I learned from what was his name again? I'm really bad right now, forgetting things I shouldn't. This guy taught me a lot of poker things. But one thing that he taught me was, in poker, when you're playing a hand and you're like, say, no limit hold'em, and the dealer is going to put down the flop, turn, or river, but especially on the flop, why are you looking at the board and watching the dealer's hands put 3 cards on the board? That's not what you're supposed to be looking at. Who are you in a hand against? Why not watch them look at the board? And then get your reads. And then you're going to have to look at the board yourself. Remember, think to yourself. Don't give off tells in the sense of go to your standard type of thing, standard breathing. And look at the flop yourself and then do your actions. And, well, that's basically... I do that all the time, and I've never ever seen anyone else do it. And I got this, not like I met somebody. This is a video that I seen, that I downloaded before YouTube, because I was playing poker before YouTube even began. So I was back. This is like back in the torrent days where you would like download stuff like that. And another one. This was a weird one. He stated, if you wanted somebody to call, wiggle your ass on your chair, which is something they really can't see. And I'm like, really? Whatever. I'll give it a shot if I ever see the opportunity. And this is a bad day. Niagara Falls, Ontario, and Niagara Falls, New York have not been the greatest of experiences for variance, we'll call it. Whereas other casinos like Casino Rama, and what other Blue Heron Casino, which is you never heard of that one, and you never heard of Casino Rama. Well, maybe a couple of you have. Though every other casino I've won at, but only that one. I've only been there like 4 or 5 times. Well, not even 5 times. 3 or 4 times I've been there, Niagara Falls, and every time was a small loser. But one of these times I'm walking back from New York State, from the Seneca Casino in Niagara Falls, New York. Only time I ever did that, walk from that side. And then I walk past, and then, okay, there's Casino Niagara right across from me. A casino, I love their poker room. It's like probably on 11 o'clock at night, and there's playoff hockey to watch at that time. So I might as well stay until the end of the late game. And I'm sitting there, and I have in a hand where I have a pocket pair that hits what I call a wired set, or when you hit the third card, you have 3 of a kind. And I think it was the turn, might have been the flop, but I'm pretty sure it was a turn. I'm like 90% sure it was a turn. And I do my all in to protect my hand. It might have been the flop now that I think about it. Now my memories are coming back. Either way. So the person's taking a long time to think about it. And I'm thinking in my head, oh yeah, Mike Carroll's the guy. Yeah, Mike Carroll is the gentleman that taught me these 2 things in videos that he made a long time ago. There's a lot of other great things he taught me. Great teacher. One of about 6 or 7 teachers in my life, internet teachers we'll call them, that has just been magnificent. Mike Maloney amongst so many others. And this is Mike Maloney's somewhat modern day, but not really 2008, 2009, 2010. But yeah, but Mike Carroll was talking about it. So once I did that, it was like he was thinking about me. He was in the think tank for 30, 40, 50 seconds. And I did that like about 2 seconds after I did. He said, I call. And I'm like, you can't be kidding me. This worked. And yeah, so anyway, I didn't really plan on talking for 40 minutes. I plan on going 25 to 30, but I'm watching hockey, 15 minutes to play in the third period. Hoping for the best, but expecting that, I mean, a lot of my investing in fantasy has been I get big wins and then I never don't lose it, and then I get small retracements, or I just have small grinds up, or literal sideways consolidation, which is what I was going through for like 4 or 5 weeks from that point. After like 3 weeks of Korean baseball, it was like just sideways consolidation of playing. Yeah, one more thing I wanted to bring up too, but I'm not going to talk too much about it, was they're promoting like the biggest game, which is going to be game 1 of the Stanley Cup, and I'm just like, they have like satellites, as they call it, where you could bet 10 cents, quarter, $1 to win these $15 tickets, and they started it like yesterday, and I've already won like so many of them. I'm like, oh my goodness, there's going to be like hockey tomorrow, hockey the next day, then there's going to be the start of the playoffs. So I mean, this is just like bonus playoff round coverage, and I've been like dominating it. So I'm going to have the first round, the second round, the third round. I'm going to win like probably 100 of these tickets. They're $15 games. Oh my! And then on that day, I can just make a statement to just show how amazing I am at the hockey game. So I have goals in fantasy. My ultimate goal is to build my bankroll as high as I can, 6 to 7 figures. That's the ultimate goal. But along the way, trying to get maximum rewards is one of my goals. And I have to play like baseball weird, like it's a lot of work to get those, but I do it anyway. And then I have a new goal. How many of these tickets can I win? I won 3 yesterday, and I've already won 2 today, and I should win another 2 or 3 more with after this Minnesota-Vancouver game I'm watching is over. And these games usually let you play 150 different lineups, so I could win $1,500 worth of tournaments. That can win me much more, and I usually does because I'm that damn good at fantasy hockey. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I know I normally don't make these long videos, but the odd time I do, and I know the longer I go, the chances this video might not work. So I'm just going to end it now, and have yourself a good one. Bye-bye.